Welcome to The Naked Truth. And now, your host, Bridget Barclay.
And good evening, America, and a very, very good early morning here in England. Tonight's guest, we were going to be having Mike Patterson on from Ontario Sasquatch, but he is snowed in and he has hardly no electricity. So again, we have, thankfully, part two, we have Pandora Spock. She is, again, she's been on my part one. She is a former co-founder of Edge Media, controversial TV that was up and running back in the 90s and the 20s. Absolutely brilliant. Has some very controversial stuff on there. Talked about the all of the unexplained, anything to do with the paranormal, channeling. She had an interview many people. Tonight, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking. Well, there's a lot gone on within ufology in the last couple of weeks, since you only have to leave it and pick it up after a couple of days, and there's more. So we're going to talk about lots of different things: frequencies, people within the UFO community, experiences, and whatever else we find in between. Pandora Spock, are you there, my lovely?
Hello, yes. Hello.
Hello, you girl. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Right, she's got a professional voice on. Right. So tonight, back for part two. Well, like we said, I think maybe for the summary for people that hadn't seen part one, let's just have a very brief summary on yourself, your past history, and let's pinnock one of your experiences, your UFO experience, so we can give an insight to you, and then we can expand further, because what we're going to be talking about will be all about that.
Okay, well, I've just got a background in the alternative media, so making TV programs and podcasts about all of this stuff. And in 2008, I had a close encounter with a UFO. I don't think, after the years of kind of analysing what it was, I'm not entirely sure it was a physical tin can object, but it was something more exotic. So here I am talking to you today. Really,
I think it was a bit more exotic because it was you were with a witness as well. It was your partner at the time, and there were lots of high strangeness behind it as well. And you were very close to it. So how close was the close encounter again?
So imagine, I know most people are here in the States, but like a, what is it? A lamp? What do you call it? A street light?
Yeah, a street light. But to me,
as high as a street light, or is like, like
okay,
2 houses high.
Okay, so a street light, as we know because of the footage, a street light goes to 6 meters, and then the top of the post on a street light is 9 meters long. Okay, so you're saying where the street light is, it's 6 meters. I don't know what that is in American sort of things, but everyone knows what a meter is.
It's close enough.
Close
enough to know that it wasn't something that I should be seeing, or something that, it was close enough that if it had been like a helicopter or something, I would have gone like, is a helicopter or it's a whatever. But it was so close that, it was a flying saucer. Well, that's what it appeared as.
Yeah. So, okay. So a couple of weeks ago, there's been a lot of going on anyway within Congress. There's been a lot going on with Trump, and there's been talks within Congress, which I find very interesting. So I'm going to bring this up first because this is going to lead into what we said that we were going to talk about. Congress within the mainstream media are engaging on the UAPs, which we know, because of data like radar and forward looking infrared, satellite imagery, etc. But they still won't look at experiencers, contactees. And that is what we think is unfair. So tonight's talk, really, we thought, is that is bloody unfair, you know. And I kind of said very quickly to you earlier that you know, it's because there's so many of us all over the world, experiences, whether you be one off or whether you be a contactee, to the amount of military. I mean, obviously there's absolutely loads of naval military witnesses, but not as many as us contactees and experiencers. So I think they'd be quite frightened, and that's why they're thinking, shit, we're not going to deal with these people because there's masses of them. So how do you feel that you as a experiencer feel within ufology right now?
Well, I feel there's not really a place for what I think the phenomena is. There's not really a space for me to exist there. I think when they're, you know, they want these military personnel and people like that to talk about it, and that's because they're trying to prove this tin can physical object kind of phenomena. So they want this like hard proof and evidence.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is this is not a tin can physical thing that we can prove, and I don't think it wants to be proved, and that's why it hasn't been proved. If it wanted to be proved, it would have landed on the White House lawn, but it's not done that.
That's cliche.
It's visiting people individually, and it's revealing itself in this way because it wants to. So, I mean, there's two different things going on, because I'm interested in the more exotic kind of idea of what's happening. It's kind of more mystical. And there's this whole other branch of ufology that's like, we've got alien bodies, you know, Roswell was real, the ships landed. That's not really an avenue I go down or I'm really particularly interested in, because I tend to believe it's something more multidimensional. And I think that red herring sending us off somewhere else. But I can't speak on it fully because it's not something I've fully researched.
Well, I'm sort of like split between both of you, you and me, that I am fully consciously aware of we are being visited, because I've seen many different types of beings and many different types of craft. None two are the same. And there is sort of platforms for people like us, i.e. you've got all of the Contact in the Desert, you've got all of the other American conferences that are huge.
I find that all, sorry to bridge, I find that all a little bit.
I have to say, you're the only one that says bridge besides my brother, and I love it. You only get away with it. Go on, then carry on.
I have to say, yes, there is all of that side of it, but I find that all a bit too fantastical. So, you know, then we are talking about channeling the Pleiades and the star beings and stuff like that. What I'm talking about is more like Terence McKenna, Jacques Vallée's kind of idea, the idea that this is perhaps us. So we're not dealing with an intelligence from elsewhere, but perhaps this is us from the future. Giving us
we both say it at the same time.
An echo back to ourselves.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
Even that new age world where, you know, it is channeling the star beings, the Galactic Federation kind of stuff, though it's great and I love it and it's valuable and it's adding something to the conversation, I didn't feel that I had a place there either, because it didn't feel. So I think the ideas that Terence McKenna talk about and Jacques Vallée and stuff, there's a limited space within the UFO community where you can talk about that stuff. And the people who are talking about that people who are involved in kind of the occult and esoteric mysticism and stuff.
Well, I think mysticism and is high strangeness as well. So you do get the multi-dimensional fragment within that sentence. Well, so as like the psychic Sasquatch, you know, more and more people now, and I mean, you've got a great book, The Psychic Sasquatch, are having these experiences with other interdimensional beings, whether it be in a being form from Arcturus, Pleiadian, Sirian, you know, you know, all of the different types of races that people are all talking about that have channeled for many, many years, you know, good 30, 40 years, they are kind of all coming up still with the same type of stuff. I don't purposely see, well, from who I follow, and I know two very, very good high profile channelers personally, I don't see any change within those 30, 40 years. That still the masters or the, you know, are still saying the same stuff to us, basically.
Yes.
Nothing has moved on.
This is what I'm saying as well with the UFO phenomenon. Let's not so much look at, you know, what did it look like? How fast was it going? Where did we spot it? What is the message that these experiences are getting? And that's why we're missing a big problem by not including the experiences, because this phenomenon is delivering a message through the people it visits.
Yeah, it's personal as well. It's a personal involvement that is multifaceted in someone's life, you know, whether it be family life, work life, and ongoing experiences. You know, it's multifaceted. And you know, it's a bit like if you go to church, you've got to do lots of different types of things to be able to learn, you know. So I think that it's difficult because there are so many platforms out there now. And I mean, it's brilliant because there's podcasts that go off into so many different avenues as well. You know, like the Starseeds, you know, you've got the people that talk about the twin flames, you know, that even comes into it again, doesn't it? You know, like with Eve Longren and stuff, and the energy saps and various things. I've just realized that this chair tilts back. Sorry. Didn't notice that before. Okay, right. Sorry.
It goes so much deeper than seeing a UFO. So people who have contact, it does, like you're saying, it infects all areas of your life, your relationships,
big time.
Everything, you know, because it seems to have this, you get into conversation with something. So it's like once you see it, it's like there's this, you're in conversation with this thing, whatever it is. And maybe it is just,
and it waits to come back, and it comes back at any time.
Yeah, well, it's I think maybe it is ourselves, maybe it's future us coming back to leave a message for ourselves. That seems, I don't know, maybe, I don't know.
Well, okay, so well, skeptics aside, okay, you know, if people are continuously having experiences, surely people should be able to, I mean, you had people like John Mack in the day that would take on experiences. You'd have Bud Hopkins that would take on experiences and hold them in meetings and continue their journey with them and be able to offer advice and support. Right now, we only have like for you and for me, our personal friends that we trust within ufology, or these people that have had these high strangeness experiences. I wonder what state of mind the military people are in, because, you know, if they have like one-off sighting close up, like you have a close-up sighting, I have a close-up sighting, you know, they've got to go through a different protocol than us. It's not like me and you can pick up the phone and go, babe, you're not going to believe what's just happened to me. They got a totally different regimental routine. I wouldn't like to be in that routine. I would like to be able to say what I can to anybody.
I'm suspicious though as well of this idea that the government is saying they've got alien bodies, and I think a lot of this videos we're seeing is our technology. I'm not sure how much of that is alien craft. I feel like there's a real phenomena going on, which I'm talking about, something mystical and multidimensional, and it's been hijacked to be like by them, to be told that it's like a physical thing that's happening. There's alien bodies, there's aliens visiting us. I don't think that's happening. I'm not saying that it, you know, this is just my personal opinion. I don't think it's happening like that. I think the UFO is visiting, the alien beings are visiting, but they're taking the form of what we understand at this current time in history. And they've been visiting forever. They've always been visiting us. They've taken different forms. That's just what I believe.
Okay, I mean, Oh, let's just add into the equation then all of the Egyptians and Antarctica right now that has come out, with new findings. The world's totally starting to have a bit of a rumble. Mother Earth is like trying to shake us up a bit right now, isn't she? And for every good reason, really. It's about bringing the truth out to everybody and everything in every single shape or form. You've got to be the best version of yourselves. And I think by having a UFO experience does make you a better version of yourself. It makes you think about, oh my God, you go away and you view things differently. So it does give you a better version of yourself. Do you think?
Well, look at the latest news that's come out that they're saying telepathy is a real thing. It's real. So telepathy is real. And a lot of these contact experiences are taking place in the realm of the astral.
Yeah, right.
We're having telepathic contact. So now they're coming out and they're saying like autistic children are telepathic. And there's a Harvard psychiatrist who's working with these kids. Yes, telepathy is real. I've had telepathic experiences myself. So when this research come out, I'm like, oh, okay, it's not my imagination, that I'm really having these experiences. And it's something we can all do. But they say in some people, the ability is blocked. So maybe that's why some people are having contact, because that area of their brain is more open or whatever. Because again, that's what I'm saying. This is not a physical tin can alien. We've got alien bodies. This is something more metaphysical that's happening.
Okay, so it's sort of, I'll give you the most basic scenario. You think of somebody and then they phone or they text you. It's kind of intuitive, or like you get told to go to your gallery on your phone and you find something, or you get told to get out your car and photograph something, as an experiencer does. So I want to kind of just personally, I'll ask you, what is in your friendship circle? Do you have people that don't like any of this? Because I do. I do, and I find it quite funny. I don't pour it down their face because I treat them all individually. But do you have people that are not into anything like this?
No, I think it's such a big part of my life. If somebody doesn't understand this doesn't understand what I'm talking about, it's kind of hard to have a friendship, because my version of reality is operating so differently from maybe the normal person's. It's like I can talk to you and you get what I'm saying. You're like, oh yeah, but not everyone is going to get that and be annoyed by it, or even think you're weird or whatever. So I just tend not to have friends who don't get it.
You're in the circle of trust of friends then that do like to talk or share their experiences with you then. So on like a more deeper spiritual level then, what would you say from your experiences, have you kind of felt that you've been rewarded by? Like you've had your UFO experience, you've had that, and that's that. Not many people get to have UFO experiences. You've still got to remember that, right? There are a hell of a lot of people out there. But what do you feel the most rewarded by this spiritually?
It's a journey, so I can't say that it's a hard journey.
All right, to where you are now then.
Well, no, I think people say they'd love to see a UFO or whatever, but I think once you get on this journey, it's not an easy journey. It's something that shapes you and schools you and pulls the veil off of everything. And you can't put those glasses back on once you've seen and go back to normal reality, 9 to 5, and it just rips the veil right off. And it's a difficult journey. And to say is there a reward for it? I don't know. Like, I'm still walking the path. Maybe at the end of the path, I'll be like, oh, I wish I'd never seen it or got involved. Whatever.
Well, like we said in sort of part 1, you went to college, you did media. That's what you're doing now for a living, for people, some very high profile people within the media, within the high strangeness and UFO community. So, and you're still meeting people on a daily basis, yearly basis, with people that are having extraordinary parts of their life that they want to share with you. I mean, ufology is divided. We do know that. This is what we said last week. You watch your podcasts that you like. I watch my podcasts. We come back and we sort of like swap and share podcasts and stuff. You've got a lot of people in ufology that are, I'm going to word this a bit differently. No names either. We said that as well. That basically that have, and I can't swear, that have no experience in it, but yet heavily involved in it. I think it takes, you've got to have that experience to be able to be in it. Okay, I still play devil's advocate, always do. Race Hobbs knows that, certainly. I always do, with lots of things, and a lot of my friends do. But I just think ufology is really divided. You've got people that keep themselves to themselves and just produce and do stuff, but they're not experiencers, so they don't get the whole picture. There's a silence. There's a tumbleweed. We won't say names.
I think there's so many great researchers, and we as well.
There are.
I mean, and they're correlating all the research. They're filtering through all of the experiences, the wheat from the chaff, finding out what's kind of, mad people, what's a valid kind of encounter. It's a job that no one else is doing. And quite for a long time, there's no pay for it. And it was kind of a thankless task. So
yeah.
That is great. But what I do find is happening as it's becoming a more mainstream topic, those researchers, as much as we might feel pushed out, they might be pushed out as well. So some of these people who've been at the forefront in our community, as the topic becomes more mainstream, you'll find there'll be other people who'll come along who've only known about this stuff for 10 minutes or a few years, and they're talking away about it. And you've got people that we know in our community who've been working tirelessly for 20, 30 years. So that's the thing as well. But that's always something that's happened in the community. I think, you get the big TV companies coming in and trying to monetize it and sensationalize it and things like that as well. But underneath, this community has always kind of been underneath that, whether the TV companies come and go and make TV programs about the experiences or the phenomenon.
Well, that's the whole point of the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance that Steve Bassett and Dan O'Hara set up, basically, was to be able to bring a community together of, people that were in the media business, that were in the film business, the different types of producers or actors as well, to bring them together to make sure that the information that was going to be in the shows was current and correct, not i.e. sensationalized. I.e., me and you spoke today about Fire in the Sky, didn't we, the film? And that is not that is not the true story in the film, as we know, like also Project Blue Book, the TV series, that isn't the whole story, and lots of things. So, for the directors and the producers, they have to make sure that they get the correct material in. So that's what Hollywood Disclosure Alliance is for. It's for getting the correct information out to the public eye. So, they're getting, everyone's getting the correct information, as opposed to the sensationalized version of it all. Which, it
is sensational, though. It
is actually. Yeah, it is.
Don't sensationalize it, but how do you not sensationalize seeing a flying saucer or a spacecraft on the freeway? Right. So
yeah. And actually saying that, Lisa Royal Priest, which she is a channeler, she is coming onto the show shortly, and she had her encounter at the same location as mine. So we are going to go into a commercial break, and when we're back, we are going to be back with Pandora Spock and talking more openly about UFOs and experiences and all the shit in between.
Tickets are now on sale for Rebels of Disclosure 2025, May 12th through the 15th in Grafton, Illinois at the beautiful Pierre Marquette Lodge and Conference Center. This will be a 4-day event with 12 speakers covering topics such as ET contact, experiencer testimonies, lost history, secret space programs, time travel, Illuminati, parallel realities, and so much more. Visit journeytotruth.online for more details.
The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom, is now available from Unex Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to Research a Haunted House can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unxmedia.com or amazon.com. That's unxmedia.com or amazon.com.
Welcome back. We are talking with Pandora Spock, part 2. Welcome back, Pandora. Now, I do have a book called Time Travelers from the Future, but that isn't behind me because I've just had a look. So that is either over there in that bookshelf or over there in that bookshelf. So I was going to just point it out to people because it is an absolutely fascinating book.
Time is fascinating. We're not living on a linear timeline. You know, the future and the past, it's all converging. So I think understanding time is key to understanding this phenomena and how it travels to us. And now we're understanding telepathy is real. You know, thought is perhaps traveling faster than the speed of light and things like that as well. So
yeah, the universe is shaping this conversation for sure. Definitely. Oh yeah, every day. Something new spiritually happens, which is quite bonkers. So, okay, right. So we've had a little rant about people within, and we haven't named names. And I really wanted to, but I won't do it. But so I won't. I'll shut my mouth because I'll get into trouble. But. And I so much want to be a good troublemaker. Anyway, so we said that on the intro that we were going to talk about vibrations and different types of energies. Now, Hi Strangers comes with a different sort of like an intunement, like you feel that something's going to happen. When you're having a UFO experience, you get different types of vibrations. Can you talk me through any of your experiences where you have experienced an onset of something very different?
Okay, well, I think they call it the Oz factor. So I think that's
right.
what they refer
Jenny
to.
Randall's came up with that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's I describe it as, for me, just generally when something weird's going to happen in my reality, it's like a feeling of deja vu. It's like you can feel time almost slowing down or reality rearranging itself, and you're like, oh, something important's about to happen, whether someone's going to say something important, you're going to open a book at the right bit, or a song's going to come on. There's this shift in the atmosphere before that happens.
So it's a bit like you're paused and you're taking in more information, as if to think, hang on a minute, I'm taking in more information because this is important. I need to take an account of something that's happening.
It's something, you know, I used to work in a shop, and that shop used to get broken into quite often, and I was the key holder. So if it got broken into at 3 a.m, I would get a phone call from the police to go down to the store. And on
What type of shop was it? A goldsmith?
It was a beauty kind of wholesalers. They sell beauty. And on more than 2 occasions, I'd say to my partner, the store's going to get broken into tonight. And it did, you know. So whether in the store I was picking up extra stuff from people maybe hanging around that I wasn't consciously picking up, but, you know, every time that store got broken into, I knew, and I would say before, the store's going to get broken into tonight. Whether maybe on another timeline I had died in some kind of raid on the shop or something, and I was getting this echo, I don't know. But, you know, that's one of these weird experiences of telepathy that I'm talking about. It wasn't anything that affected my life.
A gut feeling, basically, an intuition feeling.
Not even a gut feeling. It was that deja vu feeling. So it's like a thought comes through and it feels different. So it's like, it's going to get broken into tonight. And it's like, oh, that's not a thought that comes to me. This is a thought from
the voice that you hear.
Yeah, this is a voice from somewhere else. And then over time, you learn to recognize that voice.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, pay attention here. And you're like, oh, okay. Because it sounds different from the thoughts in your head.
Yeah. So it's not. I call it. Yeah, it's a thought that has no male or female. It's just very stern.
Maybe it's your higher self.
Yeah. Well, so collectively, but your higher self could be the person from the past coming back to the future. I wish I could have got the book over there, but I should put it behind me because I do like to refer to that book actually. Right. As in like dimensions and time slips, then what do you think is the difference between like a time slip and a dimension slip? Because you have lots of people that have UFO experiences that have like my agent Sean West, he witnessed a cube, and within that cube it was a portal, and he got out of the car and walked behind it and could see that he couldn't see into it that side, but if he walked around it he could see into it that side. Part 2 is going to come out on that because he's going to then talk about the beings that came out from that. But so what do you, portal wise, because wasn't there something different with your UFO encounter as well to do with your close encounter? Wasn't there something to do with all of the lights and the rays?
You know what I mean? It came out of a cloud, you know, whether that was I tend to believe whatever this was gaining charge or energy from the cloud. So whether that was some kind of entity or whatever. So what was the last bit of that question again?
Portals, portals and time dimensions, basically, because I've never seen anything like that.
I don't know much about portals. I've not seen anything like that myself, but sure, absolutely they could exist. Like ideas of like the Bermuda Triangle, or that there's areas where people go missing. So you have like these areas, forests and places where people tend to just disappear and stuff.
411,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, okay, yeah.
So possibly, I mean, when I've seen a UFO, I can only really talk about my experience into relation how I saw it. So so that's what I researched, and that's what I can talk about. I think, you know, because I've seen that, and that's wild. Maybe, yeah, there is portals where people are disappearing and walking into. I've read some very interesting stories about time slips and people walking into a bar and then it's suddenly being from like a different time, like 100 years ago, and then they walk out and it's like, you know, an old abandoned building or something.
Yeah, actually, there's a great film, Cowboys and Aliens, and he's in the saloon, and who's the guy that played? Oh God, who's the guy that played James Bond, the English guy? Oh, actually, there's a lot of English.
Yes, Brosnan.
No. Oh, darn it. Anyway, I shouldn't.
Oh
no, I know. Yeah, it is him. Yeah, it is him. He's in it, and he's at the saloon, and he's there to fight aliens, basically. But this bird walks up to him, and they both recognize each other. And it was sort of like a shift in time that he recognized her from somewhere else. And it's a bit like when you see somebody and they have that magic, or they have that something that you're so drawn to. It's like, hang on a minute, not everybody has that. How the hell do I know that? You know, how do I know that you have that energy? Or, you know, everyone, you know, it talks about that vibration again that, you know, people give off. But my God, it's
they say that the heart gives off like a huge energy field, like, I don't know, it's like 10-20 feet. So your heart is giving off, people can feel you before, you know, you speak to them, even because you are giving off this energy field. And then I think people who do a lot of spiritual work and things like that can refine that and send it out even further, perhaps, you know.
He said Daniel Craig. I know Pandora got it before you. Race Hobbs. He just put it in the thing. Daniel Craig. Yes, it's a bit like being in a dark room. I could find you in a dark room, and there could be 30 people in there. I'd bloody find you. You know, it's for sure. You just have to concentrate. You have to be in that stillness and concentrate, and I would find you. And it's a bit like the survival technique. You know, you would make sure that you did find that person.
Well, these are instincts we would have had from like being prehistoric humans, when we had to find each other in the dark, in the cave, you know, and whatever. So we're just tapping into these ancient instincts and these latent abilities, like telepathy is becoming like, telepathy is real, because we probably had to use that when we didn't have phones.
Yeah.
Ancient humans to get in touch with each other.
Well, I had a phone back in the late 80s, one of those big buggers, when I had my old convertible TR7, and I only had it if my TR7 broke down. So I did have back then. But so you just said something. I was gonna say something, and I talked about bloody stupid mobile phones. What did you just say? What did you just say about before the mobile phones and technology?
Just that we're developing, we're remembering our latent abilities. So I don't think we're necessarily developing new abilities. We're remembering that we're telepathic. We're remembering that we can tune into each other on these frequencies. We've got abilities. Yeah. Sense energy. Like, we're remembering these ancient abilities, because before we had technology, I think the ancients very much knew all of this, and they were very aware of their latent powers and these things.
Well, it's like you go back to the cave people, the Neanderthal people. There's a massive gap prior to that that's missing of us. There is no us arriving here. You know, there is no history of that. It's like we were literally just placed here, and then all of a sudden they found the prehistoric man. It's like, hang on a minute, how did we develop? Where's all the parts of us that are developing? You know, and prior to that, you have then, you know, the Atlanteans and you have the Egyptians, and obviously right now within the media, TikTok, Instagram, all of the TV documentaries, it's going to go crazy with all of the ancient sites in Egypt and stuff. It is interesting times. It is interesting times. It's about time that, you know, time sped up a little bit, and, you know, we all got on with trying to understand all this a bit more. I mean, not that I was into the ancient mummies that they found, all of the alien mummies that they found in, you know, I wasn't into that. There's certain things that I'm not into. I'm not saying that it's right or it's wrong. I'm not saying that I'm ignorant to it. It's just I choose not to look at it. I choose to just to look into the areas that I want to.
Well, there's so much. You can't be an expert on everything because
I'm no expert on nothing except for my cat.
Even we have conversations and I'll speak to you about somebody, or you'll mention somebody and you're like, what, don't you know this person? And I'm like,
no, I didn't the other day. You said, and he was really famous. It's like, never heard of him.
Because that's just in this realm. There's so many people and so many different avenues to go down. So it's like, I don't know, like we're saying, the nuts and bolts stuff. I don't know a lot of the researchers who are big in that area, because it's just not an area or a path I felt compelled to walk down, because I don't know if I believe that they've got alien bodies, and I don't think I believe that these craft are physical if they are alien.
They're living. I can't put this in the same context, but I suppose they are living beings. They are energy. They communicate with us. They're telepathic to us.
They're not flesh. I don't think they're flesh. So it's like when they say they've got these grey alien beings and stuff, I don't know if I believe them.
Okay, well, I physically touched and felt and been in the presence of them. So I know that they exist, not just the grey ones. So I would say that they have got evidence. Of course, they've got some kind of evidence to be able to keep this such a secret for so long.
But you think they're physical? Like I just don't know if I believe. I'm not saying I'm not open-minded to the idea that there's flesh aliens.
Okay, so
I just don't know if I can. I just don't know if I can accept that there's flesh aliens that came here from another planet.
Okay,
and crash landed, and they've got bodies. I just don't know if I can go. I don't know if I can buy that.
Okay, well, it takes to have an experience to have that. So when you have that experience with a being next to you that is either communicating with you, touching you, leaving a mark on you, physically doing something or physically saying something, you're talking touch, then you'll know, because then you'll know it's fucking real. There's no you know, sorry, Race, not allowed to swear, but I can't help it.
I think they could touch you without being physical. So I think it could manifest in front of you. It could touch you, like you know, in paranormal sort of investigations, like a poltergeist can move stuff. Yeah. So I think it could be there and not be physical. So I'm not saying that the people's experiences of having a being manifesting next to them, touching them, talking to them is not real. I'm saying yes, that's real. But it may not be physical in the way we understand it. So this phenomena and these experiences don't operate in the realm of physics. They operate like a dream. So when
have
a dream kind of state. So I just don't think that these beings are physical, flesh and blood, and that we've got them in a lab somewhere. I think they're manifesting between dimensions. And like my saucer at the time, it seemed physical. It looked physical. I thought it was physical, and it took me a long time to accept that it wasn't physical, because it was almost more weird to accept that I was seeing something that was multi-dimensional and that could shift between dimensions. That was almost harder to get my head around.
Well, first of all, it was hidden behind a cloud. Very clever. That's what they sneakily like to do. And then it appeared in front of you. So it's and then you had a reaction to it. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I'd love to believe that aliens are physical, like ET, and they could come here and they would be like that. But I'm a kind of person, until I see it for myself, I just be like, I don't believe them. And I think they're pushing this idea too hard with all the military personnel and yeah, we've got the alien bodies. They're trying to push us away from the more metaphysical, multidimensional idea of this phenomena, I think. And they've already I think they want to push it the other way.
Okay, so obviously I'm not into any of this. You're not into any of this, but you've obviously got various different programs. You've got the hybrid program, then you've got the military, the black ops programs, and you've got all of the secret soldiers that have had interactions with beings. So it's a sort of, this is where, again, ufology, we split into various different ranges of experiences only because it's personal to us. So when you have an experiencer that has continuously, not me, but others that have had babies and had to bond with the babies and had to look after the babies and keep being abducted to actually be observed basically by the beings of how our interaction as a human with that bond, how we bond, because they can't bond. They don't have any emotional part within themselves, these beings. Certain types of beings, we're talking the greys now, and we're talking sort of like the reptilians, they don't have emotion like we do. Humans are the only ones that have that emotion, so hence why they want you to bond and everything. But so you've got lots of different people within this.
I think some of that stuff you're talking about, I really kind of feel in my heart is true. Like I'm like, yeah, they're studying and people are having these hybrid babies and they're being abducted. I feel in my heart is true, but it's so wild. I don't think I can. I always try to stay in the realm of maybe. I think I always try to stay in the realm of like, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, maybe it's true, because some stuff is so wild. If you accept everything that everyone says, then you'll go crazy. So that goes back to what these guys were saying. You can't just believe everyone who says they're speaking to aliens. And I get that, because if you did believe everyone's experience who said this happened or that happened, I don't know. So it's
okay.
It's I don't know. Like I don't know.
Right. So okay. Kim Carlsberg, that's who I was referring to, with babies and abductions. She actually, funny enough, she wrote a dream beyond my wildest dreams, and it was a book on her abduction. I just wanted to put that in there because you were saying about within your wildest dreams. It's like, well, she actually did write a book beyond the wildest dreams, and it was about her, the hybrid program that she was in. Well, not that she was involved with, but her UFO experiences that kept taking her back to the same place and having to bond. Yeah. I mean,
what's going on? Some people are having these experiences. People are not just making it up. They're having these experiences and they're coming back and they're trying to explain them with the best language they have.
Yeah, of course. And I will stand by, even when I did the BBC documentary about my UFO encounter in Los Angeles, I will wholeheartedly, and I hope many other experiences would have a polygraph test to say that about my experiences, about any of my UFO experiences or any of my being encounters. Definitely. I got nothing to hide. I'll absolutely do it. In fact, it was the BBC that bloody took the polygraph test off me, and said, we don't need you to do it. It's like, well, hang on a minute, I do want to do it.
These experiences are real, but I think the issue is they're very much a mirror of the person having the experience. So what you see is different from what I see, because we're always looking at ourselves. The experience is a mirror to humans and to who we are. So that's why the experience comes out different for everybody. But there is a common thread, and that is the message that all of these experiences get. And what is that common message that seems to come through for everyone?
I think it's spiritual, isn't it?
It's a message of oneness. It's a message of, you know, we need to like save the planet. We all need to get along. We need to sort our shit out. That seems to be the message that they're sending to the people they contact through the generations. And, you know, maybe that message is going to take a long time to get through before it does. I don't know, but that seems to be the common thread. Let's not think about how the phenomena is manifesting, but what message is it delivering? What message is it telling us? That seems to be the key. I think,
like I said, if you go back to any of the early sort of like earlier channelings from the channelers, they're all saying the same stuff still again. But yet it's a bit like all of the Egyptian hieroglyphics. It's all there as well. I mean, if you look back, the Egyptians in various different places were all saying the same thing, and all of the different, you know, and you just think, hang on a minute, you've got all of these beings, you've got, I mean, I've got really into Anubises at the moment. I'm not totally sure why. And the Anubis king, I'm looking into that. I know it's sort of like going down the reptilian path type of thing. I got a book that I'm looking at, and it just fascinates me at the moment. I suppose maybe because the ancient Egyptian stuff has just come up and been found. I just think, hang on a minute, I need to really look into this. But it's amazing what's on their walls, their history with on their walls, that we should really actually listen to a lot more.
Yeah, well, they say, you know, everything that has to be said has already been said, but since nobody was listening, we have to say it all over again. And I think that's kind of...
You got delivery?
No, it's my phone.
If you ordered Burger King.
So the new age is, you know, not the new age, it's just the old age. So all of these messages that we're getting through, all of this stuff, we're relearning: telepathy, UFOs, superpowers, all of this is stuff that we're remembering. This is not an awakening, it's a remembering.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. And that's really, that's why it's really difficult in the amount of struggles that you go through in life. Whatever can be put in front of you, and then you've still got to have this life as well. It makes it very difficult. I wish, I don't wish I was normal at all, but in many shape or forms, I don't. I'm glad that I'm on this path. I'm glad that I'm on this path that I'm on. Absolutely, wholeheartedly. I would have hated to go for the boring path. This one's so much more interesting and heartfelt, I think. Heartfelt in many ways. And trustful as well. I think I trust more of the experiences than I do a lot of people. Yeah. I mean, because it's so deep and it's so spiritual. I mean, because sometimes there's no words in that experience, right? You go sort of like within yourself when you have that experience, and you sort of like, you question various things. You go away and you think, bloody hell. And, you know, sometimes you won't get that from sometimes having a conversation, you know. I don't know. It's really, well, you get what I mean. If you know, you get what I mean. But it can be really, really deep. Please don't mix up the Anunnaki and with the reptilians that infiltrated after and took over. Oh, I told you I'm not totally into the ancient Egyptians and stuff like that. So I'm only just saying what I say. Right. Listen, Pandora.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. We are going to go shortly. I am going to have somebody on that is going to do some channeling live, and it would be really interesting because she can do channeling that's for you or for me. It'd be really interesting if I'm going to ask a group of people to put some stuff together for what'd like to be asked live. That's going to be in the next 2 weeks' time, so that was going to be really interesting. I have to touch on the channeling stuff because it is, you know, half of these books around the bloody 360 of the room. I love it.
It's a fascinating it's another branch of what we're talking about. There's some UFO researchers who will not touch people who channel stuff, and they won't touch channeled information. But that, like, there's a lot of fascinating stuff that's come out from channeled stuff, like Alistair Crowley, again, who's connected to the UFO myth because he channeled a being. Yeah, that looks like a grey. You know, so there's some. So the channel.
That's right, because you're telling me the name of the chap, and I didn't know his. I know who Alistair Crowley is, but the other chap, you said that he was really well known.
I can't remember who I was talking about now.
Okay.
But he's connected to UFO myth like that because some people are saying what he was channeling and talking to was, you know, some kind of extraterrestrial being, perhaps. So the channeling absolutely has a place in this conversation.
Yeah, I mean. Not that we're channeling now at all, but we can go off in our thoughts. When you songwrite, where's that coming from? You know, it's coming from you, part of you, your higher self, your conscious self, further out self.
Absolutely. I just think we've got to take the information we get with a pinch of salt from somebody who's claiming they're channeling. Like, you know, you'd go to anyone, like a tarot reader or whatever. You've got to take.
Yeah, you can take bits of what you need from it, can't you? What resonates with you, whatever resonates.
With any of this stuff, don't believe anyone blindly that, like, they've got the truth. Nobody, because you've got to listen to yourself. That's the most important thing.
Okay, listen to yourself. Listen, and the universe is shaping this conversation, basically. Listen, my soul sister, I will look forward to speaking to you in the next couple of days. Thank you for coming back on for part 2. And hopefully everyone could just sort of like waft through the waffle if they want to listen to us. All right, take it easy. And I do believe next week it is Mike Patterson back on from Ontario Sasquatch with more from Nefertir and vocals. All right, thank you ever so much. Bye from Pandora and bye from me from Naked Truth. Bye.
Bye.